Hello, and welcome to the National Fellowships and Scholar Program's Fall Workshop on Summer Opportunities in National Fellowships. My name is Jennifer Bess. I'm Director of National Fellowships, and I'm hoping that this workshop will give you just a quick overview of some of the options that exist for students who are looking for activities to do in the coming summer. A quick word about our office. We're located in Desessur, which is on the Horseshoe, but we are also holding a lot of virtual meetings this fall, as you might imagine. We have several National Fellowship advisors who are here to talk with you about your applications. We also have fellowship peer mentors who are students who have won previous, or who are previous winners of National Fellowships who can talk with you about their experiences both applying and receiving awards. Once you let us know that you're interested in applying for a National Fellowship, we will give you access to our Blackboard organization, which is called National Fellowships Advising, where you'll find general hints and tips about applying for these awards. There are a few that might have specific folders with more information, and those folders might include previous winning applications of USC students for some competitions. So we do offer a variety of those resources, but most importantly, we're here to meet with you, answer questions, review application materials, give you feedback, and just strategize on how to make you the strongest possible applicant for any of these awards. A quick reminder of what a National Fellowship is, how we define this term. So this is a merit-based award that is presented to you from outside the university. So none of this is USC funding. They're portable financial awards given to students all across the US, hence national, and they can be for undergrad or grad study across all different disciplines. With that being said, I'm going to divide this presentation into two parts. So the first part will be summer opportunities for STEM majors, because there are quite a few specific to students studying science, technology, engineering, and math. And the second part will talk about opportunities that apply to any major. So if you're a STEM student, stick around, watch the whole thing. If you are not a STEM major, feel free to skip ahead to when I start talking about the Boren Scholarship. But these are the awards. These are the 8, I can't count, 4 plus 6 is 10. These are the 10 awards that we're going to be talking about in this webinar. I'm going to start with NSF Reuse. So this is the National Science Foundation Research Experiences for Undergraduates. These are wonderful opportunities for students in STEM fields. It's a chance to do research at an institution that is not your home institution. The link here is to the large database of opportunities that exist. Essentially, faculty at universities around the country put in proposals to NSF for funding their summer work for a several-year-long period. So these are well-established programs that offer the chance for students to do research for, I'd say, 10 to 12 weeks. They are fully funded, so they will give you a travel stipend, make sure that you have a place to live and things to eat, but you'll also make money. There will be a stipend for the work that you do over that 10 to 12 week period. On that search engine page, you can search by field of study, you can search by location. I think keyword is often a very important way to utilize that database. And I would say because they're individual programs, you need to make sure that you read through each opportunity that looks like it's of interest to you very carefully. So however you've searched and to start narrowing down your options, look to see if there are any particular preferences as to whether you need to have already had research experience or if this is an opportunity that's geared towards students with very limited research experience, if it's targeted for first generation students or students who are underrepresented in STEM fields, things like that. So you just want to dig into the individual programs, and that database will link you to each of those. The other thing to note is that deadlines really do vary. So you kind of have to keep track of what's due when with these. I think a lot of them tend to be due in January. So you want to get started on them now to sort of get your list ready and make your plan for applying. We do recommend that you keep a spreadsheet of applications. These are competitive awards because they're great experiences and they're fully funded. So they're by no means a shoo-in. So I wouldn't say you find one, you're like, great, this is the one I'm going to do. You probably want to have a handful of programs that interest you that you want to apply for. So when students ask, I think between 5 and 7 is a decent number if this is pretty much the only thing that you're trying to do for the summer. We've had students apply for as many as 20, which seems overkill to me. I wouldn't do that many. But if you only apply to 1 or 2, your odds are not great that you're going to get them, although you might be lucky. And so these are good for students in any STEM field and of any year. So freshman, sophomore, junior, please feel free. So we've had several, we have students every year who receive these awards. So it's not an impossibility by any stretch of the imagination. And it's a great building block to have this experience for future fellowships. Then we have the Rise program. So the Rise is a summer research program in Germany. This provides the opportunity to go and do about 10 weeks of research with a German PhD student at a university somewhere in Germany. You need to be a sophomore or a junior to apply for this. And the language in the labs for by and large is English. So no German is required, although if you have any German, that's a plus, and they enjoy seeing that and hearing about your interest in Germany. It is a single application process, but you can apply to up to 3 different sites with that one application. Essentially, you are writing a different cover letter to each of the 3 PhD students that you might want to work with. Everything else is a single application. The database for this is open now. It opened November 1st, so you can go in and see, if you register, you can go in and see all the different options in STEM that are available. And they're due December 15th, so this is kind of a quick turnaround. So this is an award where you should be funded to do this, but you're not going to make money off of this. They will provide a travel stipend for you to get to and from Germany, and they will pay you a monthly stipend. I think it's about 650 euro for for housing and living expenses, but you're not going to make money. You won't have there was not an additional stipend. Some students are able to do some German study beforehand. There are some scholarships available for that. So if you're interested in learning more German, that's a possibility. The nice thing about this is it's a little bit more flexible than some of the REUs because it's a one-on-one experience that you're having with the PhD student. So they'll give you a range, like a typical range, say, start date around May 15th, but you can adjust that with your PhD student if necessary, in terms of starting and ending and things like that. Again, this is an award that we've had students do pretty much every year. We have at least 1 or 2 USC students who win this. I will say that last summer, due to COVID, they had to cancel the program. So there's no guarantee it will be in person this year, but I know that everyone hopes that it will be, and they're running the competition as if it will actually happen. So I would strongly encourage you to look at this. Germany is very well known for its STEM research, and there are lots of different opportunities throughout the country. All things being equal, I would say one thing to keep in mind, you want to find the programs that the research opportunities that best fit your interests. But if all things being equal, some of those are not in the major cities of Berlin and Munich, I think it's a good idea to include other locations in your 3 sites, right? So I would not apply to 3 sites in Berlin or 3 sites in Munich, or a mixture of those. I think that people tend to gravitate towards being in those big cities, and there's just a whole lot more going on in Germany, and areas of interest and pockets of research that you want to explore that will give you a better shot at receiving one of these awards. So that's my small piece of insight with the Rise. Oops, I'm going backwards, sorry. The NIH summer internships, so the National Institutes of Health, they offer internships primarily at their location in Bethesda, Maryland, but there's a few other satellite spots that have limited opportunities there. So if you follow this website, follow this link, they've got a really good website with a lot of detailed information about how to apply. They are saying right now that it's possible that their 2021 summer offerings will be remote. So the good news is that they hope to not cancel the program. The bad news is you may or may not be able to do it in person. But I would remind everyone that this is the current reality, so I don't think you should feel like you are not having the options that everyone else is having. This is the situation that everyone's dealing with. So they have essentially a general program, the SIP, the Summer Internship Program. That's what we're talking about. They have a few sub-programs that are targeting specific populations, so you can read a little bit more about those on their website, and they have a slightly different application process. But in general, there is a single application that you submit to NIH saying that you are interested in doing a summer internship, and then you have to reach out to potential PIs that you would like to work with, to let them know that you're interested so that they know to look for your application in the giant stack that NIH receives, okay? They do really encourage students from backgrounds that are underrepresented in STEM to apply. And part of what you receive, so you receive a stipend, the experience of working for NIH. They also do a summer poster session of all students to come and present the work that they have been doing for the summer. So that's great. You have a product of your research, then you have a poster presentation. And again, I'll reiterate that their website is really helpful in terms of outlining the application process. So spend some time there if the NIH is an area that you're interested in. I will flag for you that applications open in mid-November. They're not open yet, but they should be open really any day. And although the technical final deadline is March 1st, the most successful students by and large submit their applications within the first 2 to 3 weeks of that opening because it's on a rolling deadline. So the sooner your application gets in, the sooner you notify a PI that you want to work with them, the sooner they can find you and select you, and then they're done. They don't want to wait until March to find someone for their lab. They're going to be looking early for students that they can choose. So the sooner you can get that application in, the better. So really, if you can get it in before the end of the semester, I think that that's ideal. Again, we've had students do this internship fairly consistently. The South Carolina Space Consortium, so this works in partnership with NASA, and it's run through College of Charleston. That's why this link is through that. But there are a bunch of different funding options with them in research areas that are of interest to NASA. The most typical summer version of these is the last one listed here, the Palmetto Academy Research Award. So that's kind of like an REU. There are different locations at schools within South Carolina that have partnered with the South Carolina Space Consortium to provide summer research experiences. The 3 other awards have options for either summer or semester or year-long funding for projects. So just take a look at those. They're all up. I think the application is open. They finally have their new deadline up of January 29th. And so this is a great option if you're interested in anything that's related to space, which aren't we all? Isn't that one of the cooler topics? So I don't have a ton to say with that. We've had students win, all of these awards at various times. So again, something that's very realistic, and just it's about the fit between what your research interests are, your research background, your long-term goals, and what the opportunity is. So we're happy to talk through that with you. I think that's the end of the ones that are STEM specific. So now let's talk about ones that will be eligible. Well, the Boren is kind of the transition. So the Boren Scholarship is for critical language study abroad. The reason it's on this list as a summer opportunity is actually only relevant to STEM students. So if you are not a STEM student, you're not eligible for summer only Boren travel and funding. But if you are a STEM student, you could apply for 8 to 11 weeks to go abroad to study a critical need language, and they would give you up to $8,000 for that. You have to relate your study of that language to U.S. national security, very broadly defined. There is a service requirement where you have to work for the federal government for a year after graduation if you have received a Boren scholarship as an undergrad. And there is a campus application process for that. They ask us to do an evaluation of all of our applicants. And so we have a campus deadline of January 11th. The national deadline is, I believe, February 3rd. So if you are a STEM student who is studying a critical need language, which essentially is anything non-European, non-Western European, let me know. We'd be happy to talk with you about that. The reason they offer the summer option for STEM students is they recognize that it can be difficult for STEM students to study abroad, given some of the requirements that they have in their coursework. So that exists. So now switching to things that are more broadly open to people from all different backgrounds. The Gilman Scholarship is funding for students who receive Pell Grants as part of their financial aid to receive funding to study abroad. And this is up to $5,000 for a semester abroad. It's a little bit less for the summer. They have an additional $3,000 available if you're studying a critical need language while you're on that study abroad. If you receive a Gilman scholarship, you get non-competitive hiring status in the federal government after graduation, which is pretty handy. And so they have 2 application cycles every year. The application deadline in March will cover programs including summer of 2021. Now, again, study abroad is a little bit difficult at the moment. Gilman has not canceled their funding. They are working with students to figure out different options if the countries that students want to go to are not available for Americans to travel to at this point. So don't be discouraged by the fact that you may or may not at this moment be able to go. There is hope in the future, and they also have been offering students options for postponing their award until like for the to the following summer and things like that. So if you would like to try to study abroad in the summer and you receive a Pell Grant, the Gilman is a great option for you. The UK Summer Fulbright. So we did get notified by them that they are hoping to have a program this year. They had to cancel their program last year, but they would like to bring students to the UK again. This is a Fulbright sponsored program. So Fulbright is a program that connects the US with a variety of countries to partner in creating exchanges, cultural exchanges, to increase the positive relationship between the US and that country. So for the UK, this is one example. They offer a 3 to 4 week long program. Right now, there's 4 different sites you could go to. There's a Scotland program, a Northern Ireland program, a Welsh program, and a program in Bristol. And so you can choose any of those. You can be from any kind of background. Right now they're sort of country specific with the Scotland, the Northern Ireland, and the Welsh program. And then Bristol is focused on arts and social justice. They provide travel funding, tuition, and housing. You might get a food stipend, but you might not. So there might be a little bit of expense on your end, but it's mostly covered. And they are explicitly targeting only freshmen and sophomores, and really people who have never been outside of the US before, the US or North America. So, if you've been to Canada or on a cruise to the Bahamas, you're probably still okay. But they really are trying to focus on providing this experience to students who have not yet had the opportunity to go abroad. It's a pretty straightforward application process. We're happy to help you with that. We've had 4 students receive this over the course of the few years this has been offered, and several of them are still peer mentors for our office. So if you want to talk with them about their experience, we can set that up for you. But this is a great opportunity to explore a new country, take a class or 2, and travel abroad for the first time. So I'd encourage you to look at this one. Humanity in Action. So this is another program abroad that this sends you to one of several European locations. I think Warsaw, Copenhagen, a couple other places I'm blanking on. And they also have a program in Atlanta, Georgia. And all of these are focused on human rights, history, activism, civil rights, and things like that. So it is a cohort of students from the US and from those particular set group of European countries coming together to do seminars and learn about the current state of human rights in those countries, but really also the history of it. It is a fully funded program. It went virtual for 2020, so they did still run the program. And interestingly, the application is not yet open. It should open any time now because it has typically an early January deadline. So if you are interested in human rights at all, this is a really fascinating program. We've had a couple of students do it. Most recently, Sloan Wilson was there in the summer of 2019. She went to Copenhagen and had a fantastic experience. She's also one of our peer mentors, so happy to put you in touch with her if you want to talk about this. If you have any kind of interest in that public service human rights arena, this can be a really great program. So while it is a 4-week summer program, they also anticipate that you continue to work together as a cohort and that you have a project of your own in your own community that you sort of start to build while you're on the summer program and then bring to completion during the following year once you're back from that. So that can be a really great option. TUSA, the Taiwan USA Alliance ambassadorial program. This is another great one that they have turned virtual for next summer, which is interesting because Taiwan is one of the few places that has COVID under control, but perhaps that's the reason that they're turning it virtual. So there's the website link. It's nice that they've already got it planned and set that it will be virtual, so you know what you're getting into. This is a program that is about learning and, well, improving your Mandarin, but also gaining an understanding of Taiwanese culture and history to really position yourself to be an ambassador for explaining and advocating for Taiwan in the US. So they do have a minimum language requirement. You have to have had at least one previous year of study of Mandarin. So the focus is going to be on synchronous Mandarin classes, but they're also going to have asynchronous options for cultural and history type information. And you're going to be matched with a language partner. And so application opens February 1st. They're due March 15th, and you do earn academic credit. So you can earn 6 credits over the 8-week program. So again, this is a program that we've had several students do and really enjoy. While I'm sorry it wouldn't send you to Taiwan, I think it's still a really great experience for anyone who's looking to gain a better understanding of Taiwan's position in East Asia and its relationship with the US. So if you have any background in Mandarin, this is a great option, and I encourage you to look at it. I think this is the last slide. This is the Wrangle Summer Enrichment Program. So this program is for primarily sophomores and juniors who are starting to consider a career in the Foreign Service but would like to know more about it. So this 6-week program gives you the chance to explore what the Foreign Service is like. You spend that 6 weeks at Howard University in DC. You take a couple classes. There's a writing seminar. You visit various offices and organizations in DC to kind of learn what the various options are for Foreign Service officers exist. It's fully funded, plus you receive a stipend. So if Foreign Service is something sort of in the back of your mind or new to you, and you'd like a chance to explore more and see if it's a really good fit, this is the great program to apply for. Application is open now, and it's due February 9th. We've not had a lot of students apply for this program, which I think is unfortunate. So I would like to see more applicants. The Wrangle does also have a graduate scholarship program where for students who by that point know that they want to enter the Foreign Service. And so the Wrangle Fellowship provides funding for 2 years of grad school and then a pathway into the Foreign Service. You still have to pass the Foreign Service exam, but it helps you get in the pipeline for being an FSO. So this is a great opportunity to explore and just kind of learn about what else is going on. One slide I don't have on here that we usually talk about is the Mount Vernon Leadership Program. That is a summer program for sophomores. They are not running it this year due to COVID, so I did not include a slide. But if you are a freshman listening to this, hopefully next year that will be back and be an option for current sophomores. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Now you listen to all these different options in terms of best next steps. Keep doing as well as you can in your classes this semester. I know it's been a crazy time, and I wish you all the best of luck. Follow the links to any of the websites, check out the programs, figure out what might be of interest to you, and then make an appointment to talk with one of us about what your options are in the application process and how we can support you through that. I would strongly recommend, even for those competitions that don't have deadlines until January, February, that you talk with potential recommenders before the end of the semester. All of these competitions will require you to have at least 1 letter of recommendation. Some will require 2, and it's much easier to ask for those in person, whether that's physically in person or virtually in person, but to have a conversation with your faculty, I think is helpful. Plus to just give them a heads up that this is something you'll be applying for is a good practice. Part of the conversation we can have with you is to make a plan for getting drafts done, making sure you don't miss deadlines, making sure you give recommenders enough time to write letters and things like that. And then I would like you, whether or not you work with us, because most of these don't require you to work with us, we just strongly encourage you because we are here as a resource. But we would ask that you let us know that you're planning to apply for any of these through our intent to apply form. That will be available as a link in the information below this video on YouTube. So just click on that link and let us know. Some of them you can check off, and others you might have to type in the other box. But we want to know who's applying so that we can better support you. and hopefully celebrate you when you win these. So I think that's all. Thanks so much for listening to this. I hope that this has been useful. And again, we are here to answer any questions and support you along the way, and hope that you can manage to have a fantastic summer in whatever kind of world we're in 2020. So thank you and take care.